And I do see particularly that there is a lot of stress, and I feel that we are making kids do all these things as if they are some superhero with superpowers. And we feel like, I don't know, is it parents? Is it the nature of competition we have for admissions and applications? We feel that we, if we support them, if we get them, if we give them proper platforms, we can get them to do everything and all these things, and all these things are possible to accomplish. But I want to say that this comes at a cost. I want to say that, these are still children who want to have enough time, if not much, at least an hour or 2 hour each day, to unwind, to relax, just to do nothing, just to socialize or just to be kids. And I can tell you, like, I have never been a mother who would push my son very hard. My son has always been very playful, and we have always been like very realistic in our approach. But I don't know, overnight, I can see that my son has become so academically inclined. He puts in so many hours that at times I have to pull him out. I have to tell him that, no, this is not good. You need each day, you need some time for yourself as well. And I feel the mindset over here is that, every time there is a problem, every time there is a stress, we are coming up with a quick solution, which is like, we are always ready with a pill. We think that, there is a problem, we can give this tablet and this can be resolved. It's more like, we have a pot, the water is overflowing, and we think that by putting the lid, we can contain it. But I feel somewhere we need to do some real talking. Somewhere we have to address what are the roots of the challenges, like, what exactly is the problem, and we need to address this. And every time, like, how to handle it is not a solution. Sometimes you have to address the real problem, and you have to take out that problem. They don't need to have this kind of demanding struggle. And especially, I don't know if parents and we understand, school and all together as a team, we understand or we realize that online learning is much, much more stressful than in person.
True. So very well put, Sajal. I appreciate that one. And that is the purpose. To know what the root cause is, we have to talk. All of us have to talk with each other as adults, with children, children between themselves. So this platform we have to utilize. It's like theoretically we can say find the cause, but how do we do that? That's how we are trying to make this place, this socially online Zoom place where each of us can communicate and know what the situation is. So we are trying to dive. So one request to everybody is, if you can switch on your video, we can actually meet you in person. I know it's very difficult. We might be in different shapes and dresses, but that doesn't matter. All that matters is your input, what you want to contribute and give to this, and how do we solve it together. Thank you so much for opening your windows of life to us. So first of all,
before I think of giving any solution, is this a group of only concerned parents, or there are some real children from whom we can really listen? What exactly is the problem? Otherwise, we could be listening to a parent's version of a child's problem, not the real child's problem.
Very good point, Manoj. So what I would suggest is, this is a interest meet, that we have to first plan how we want to work. And after that, we introduce, because a child is like a young, very fresh mind, a very, we don't want to, shut them away at the very beginning. So what we have to do, we have to work planning and organizing properly. That's my suggestion. So let's now make our mission, vision, and plan of action. How do we want to do it? How you feel comfortable? How much time do you have? Do you want to help a child whom you don't know? It can be a blind date. Like, it's always my child, my family. No, the way I'm suggesting is, I've seen in challenge days that a child opens up to an adult who's not related, who's not familiar. So I have, as I suggested, the mentor-mentee or even the teenager jam session on Zoom. In that session, we'll open up to people who are not known. So that planning we'll have to do gradually. So I suggest everybody to please join the WhatsApp communication that we have. We have 45 people already signed up. We opened it yesterday. It just came up. It was not planned, but thank you for Voice of Kapupatna Desis that people are so willing to help that they join the group. And I request all of you also to join, to keep in touch with what's happening, what's being planned. Once we come up with a plan of action, that this is how we work, this is how the teenager counselor will moderate the teenager jam session, this is how as adult we will plan our actions, then we'll introduce all the young children in our meeting.
So I'm a little confused here. Right? The previous speaker has indicated that, okay, there is a way you can actually solve an issue by looking for a vaccination and giving a vaccination and try to become immune to that. There is other way of doing that is to prevent at the source, if possible, right? So by talking to the kids, yes, you are trying to give a vaccination, trying to understand what the kid symptoms are, and then see how you can resolve the issue, right? But if you see a systemic issue somewhere, which I've been hearing for a while, and I'm seeing it for a while. I'm here for 4 years in this school district, and I have seen how parents move, how kids move to a certain extent. I'm probably not a veteran here, but at least a parent of 2 girls who are going through this process. And my kids, my elder one was very playful. She now doesn't play at all because she doesn't have friends. The younger one, she's like super playful. I would say now she actually comes to any phone call that we receive. She wants to talk to everyone, right? So that's the kind of a girl I'm talking about. Now, the key thing I'm seeing here is how the school actually has an atmosphere. It could be the school's issue, it could be the parents' issue, it could be the students who are there, how the students are put into that situation. I'm stressing on these 3 aspects, right? We have to look at the source. I understand we can talk to the kids to understand what the source of the problem is, but we cannot just fix this by talking to the kids. The solution could be somewhere else. And we need to get to the root, not just trying to apply a balm or give a Tylenol or a vaccination to solve this problem by having a social interaction with the kids. And this is my take on it, and probably I might be wrong here, but because I'm not a veteran in terms of how kids have graduated from this school, but what I see is something that disturbs me. Are my kids stressed? I try to de-stress them a lot, and so far, to a certain extent, we had been successful in that way. We tend to talk a lot with our kids, right? But I see this kind of stress that gets created in other kids too. My wife is almost on call with her friends here for several hours a day. I see her not facing the kids when talking these issues, just getting into the restroom, closing herself, locking herself there, or just walking out so that the kids don't listen to any of these things, right? Because the parents are talking about what their kids are going through. And this is a very big topic for her, and on a day-to-day basis, she talks about it. And I'm a recipient of that at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, I get the summary saying, this is what is happening, what can we do about it, right?
Totally, I completely agree. Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, Kajal and Srinivas, thank you for giving input. So what I would suggest is we are taking baby steps. It's a massive issue, all of us agree, but we cannot solve it overnight. So we have to take smaller steps. Little by little, we get nearer to the solution, but we have to start somewhere. That's why I thought the child, the teenager was the person, was the entity where we can begin with. So it's just not socializing of teenagers, but also for us. So the 2 parts we plan to start is 1 session for teenagers, totally their world. 1 session for us to come up at par with them. And then we mix them together. We combine both the worlds by having a mentor-mentee relationship. So this is a plan of action, but of course we are open. It's just on this is a formation stage. That's why I want
basically brainstorming.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're
So if you
basically
don't, yeah, thank you. So Archana, if you don't mind, can I take like 2-3 minutes?
Sure, Gopal, all yours.
Yeah, this is Gopal. Hey, Srinivas, I think I heard you, and I was talking to Srini earlier on different topics too. So Manoj and Kajal, just wanted to share a couple of my experience already with the kids in it. So I've been in here, like many of you, 20 years, been with the CUSD as well as Fremont Union High School District. And I'm a regular, of course, I teach preschool kids for the last 18 years. On my Sundays, I do that. I do coach high school kids, mentor them. It's all voluntary service. I work with many, many, many kids in the last 20 years. So the high level thing is what Manoj started with it is kids, and of course Srini also said, there are two issues. Schools one, let's keep it at the third priority, because schools are to some extent you can influence it. I worked with both the superintendents, and there are ways, but there are kind of rigid some areas, so you can only do to some extent. But the things under our control are both on parents and kids side, right? The one thing which I learned all of them is that maybe Kajol, you've been here only 4 or 5 years, you said, and moved from, I think, Canada, you said. Whether unfortunately this area is more than the peer pressure for the students, it's a peer pressure from parents. Okay, let me be really be blunt on it and candid. We had a real pressure from parents, between the parents, to push it onto the kids. Kids may not have all those, but it's all going from parents. Based on my personal experience, the last 20 years here. The students, they are on the other way around. They have a very kind of a fear of sharing that with any of their parents. Many kids who I coach, they share with me things, and I will really anonymize it. And then I share with the overall parent community the issues they really face. They have no way, except unless otherwise the parents are so good with them as a friendly. We talk about it, but you know what? At the end of the day, if the grade goes down to A minus, you know how people will yell at them and then try to make them to A minus. And the grade point is like 4.0, 4.2, 4.3. That's how the culture is. I'm sorry to say that maybe that's how I see it. So kids are so feared. They're afraid of sharing the pain, the pressure they have with their own parents. They really wanted to have a forum and a platform or a place, a friendly adult who they can share with it. Okay. So first, I just wanted to make sure that we as a group, if we come together, just to listen, as exactly what Manoj said, that's a number one. We are not listening as parents. Yes, we may be doing good. I have 2 kids. One graduated as an MD now. She gone through all the school district here in Lynbrook, all of them. And I know the pressure. And even I took her out and her friends and openly shared with all the parents and a seminar kind of, look at the pressure they have gone through. I put them on it, 5 kids, and they really put me on the spot. And they did say that how bad they have done it, how they could have done differently, enjoyed the school days, than going through this 3-page of resume to be filled in. By the time you finish your senior, your expectations are, I need to have a 3-page of resume, period. That's a really awkward, and I've gone through part of it, putting my daughter into it. Once I hear from them, I completely changed for the last 10 years, and I'm doing this. So the first thing is we need to listen, and we need to listen means it's not us, our kids. Our kids need to talk to someone authentic, and where they feel that, yes, they will listen to me and take my input and overall come up with a thing across it. It's not just to specifically, okay, I listen from you, I'm going to talk to your mom and dad. Absolutely not. So when it comes, so that's a number one. I'll stop there, but I just want to make sure that we have to create an environment, a place, a platform, a thing where the kids can freely go and talk to someone, other parents, to share their pain points and what they are going through, how we can help. Let me stop there. That's the first thing we need to start.
Amazing, Gopal. I totally agree with you. Before we give another speaker a chance, I want to just connect with our goals and suggestions at this point. The two platforms that we are trying to create, the Teenager Jam Session and the Mentor-Mentee, will both give opportunity to our young generation, to teenage, to speak. First, to their own peers. Second, to a role model whom they don't know. So it gives an anonymous feeling and confidence of security, of being anonymous. So these two things I want to reinforce, and then let's hear more from other people. Yeah, please. Who wants to join?
Can you hear me correctly right now? Is my audio fixed?
Awesome.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
So my take on this is like, my kids are grown up and I've been in the system. And also I think number one is that we do not, I mean, everything this happens, parents have too many lives and parents have too much stress. And every time this kind of things happen, we're telling the parents you've not done enough. But that's really not the problem is. The problem is a nuclear living. Nuclear, this is unstable. And no matter how much, and it's also we become very self-centered, me and my kids. Even if you want to talk to other peer parents, there's a lot of stress and there's no trust among the peers that you talk to, because what your kid has done, what is your AP, what is this thing. So, and the kids, my daughter will say like, even though you don't give me stress, the society does. And I think one of the parents said like, it's not me, like, they are. So first of all, we have to acknowledge that there is, and we live in Silicon Valley. Even a 25-year-old will say, I'm a failure because I'm not an entrepreneur. And you can't prevent the environment there. So the only thing is the parents go out and get education. They go to community college and take up some Asian American psychology classes. They're wonderful classes. I really feel take up some writing classes. Then when you take up some community classes yourself and be in their shoes of writing the papers, I'm telling you, you cannot give empathy by listening. You have to have the experience of what it is to be in school here. So I would say every parent should go to community college and sign up for some writing class and some like Asian American psychology, Asian American community. You will learn a lot about America. You will learn a lot about how they are taught. You will live their lives. So unless you are willing to change and learn, and secondly, make friends with people who have gone through, people like me or people who are younger. So you can give them and say like, oh, we've been there, like preschool, we don't worry about it. But when your children in preschool, you were so stressed out. Try to make friends where there is no organic peer pressure. Make some time for that. If you really want to, so that's how you make a community. And same thing with the kids. I feel you cannot have mentor and mentee because it becomes a work. There has to be some kind of organic activity. You just hang out. You just play board games. And then in that things come up. You just, you can't just dig the well when there's a fire. So I think there are few infrastructures are missing. And unless we really build a community with the organic, with diverse interest and in age and experiences, that would be helpful. That's my thought on that.
Very nice, very well put, Manjuji. And I totally agree with you that we cannot force it, and enforcement won't work. It has to come organically. But what we can do is get a bridge between people so that they can get started. Even as a child who's unable to reach out, why don't we reach out to the child and at least start a process of how's your life, how's the day has been, how's study, how's school. So this coming from a person not known, not fearful or not familiar face might make a difference. So anybody else would like to share?
Archana, can I say something?
Sure, Sudham sir. Go ahead.
Okay, then. I'm Sudham Sahu. I am a resident of Cupertino since 1993, last 27 years. So I have two kids, those who have gone through Monta Vista. The pressure in Monta Vista, the day we entered, we knew that we wanted to come to a very good school so that they can go to good public school. And we have a choice of private school or public school. We decided, hey, we are staying here, let's enjoy and let the kids go through that. They have gone through, and obviously the kids have gone through a lot of stresses, no doubt. Even from middle school to junior high to high and everything. As a parent, what I have seen, when you talk about the stress level, this is nothing new, particularly in the Silicon Valley or anywhere in the world. Everybody talk about stress. Whether it's a physical stress, it's a mental stress or intellectual stress. All these things that we are talking about, stress is nothing but the mental stress. That's coming not because they're not playing enough, going out and playing soccer or playing cricket or playing tennis to do better. but they're getting a lot of mental stress because of two reasons. As somebody, Manjuji said, they're getting a lot of peer pressure. Gopal also said that. Second thing also, the parents putting a lot of pressure. I have noticed, I just wanted to say one thing. What I have noticed, whenever parents talk to their kids, they always tell something to do. They never ask, can you do this? Because of that mentality, because of that attitude that what we have, because we are came from a competitive, that we want to make sure that our kids, we always command, hey, you do this. So when you tell something, they say, hey, I have been forced to do something. That's not what I want to do. So that is actually causing more stress than even they are getting it. So the parents have to really learn something. They actually say, hey, how can I ask somebody to do something, if whatever their passion is, all right, whatever their interest is, how can we ask that? Not by telling, hey, you do this. Because that's what I have noticed, and that's the only thing that I would like to say. Let everybody else say their viewpoint. Thank you, Archana.
Thank you, Sam sir. So before we have another speaker, I would like to tell you that we have a WhatsApp group called YUVA, where we are still brainstorming on what can be done. So if you're interested, please do join so that you are in touch with what's happening and how you can contribute. Please be mentally prepared that this might have unconventional suggestions as well, because that's what we are trying to adapt to. But we'll always try to fit in all that works towards the betterment of our own children. So this is a WhatsApp group called YUVA. We have started. So now I will welcome anybody, the next speaker.
This is Tara Narasimhan.
Hi, Tara.
Can you all hear me? Okay.
Tara, please go ahead.
I am actually from Texas. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I'm the president of the Hindus of Greater Houston. And one of the major activities is to encourage our youth. And we have two wings that we have started. One is called the Young Hindus of Greater Houston, and the other one is called the HHYC. It's a Heritage Youth Camp. Their activity is once a year to have the Vishwa Hindu Pariksha type of summer camp, where all the kids, right from their, I think, third grade all the way to the 17 or 18 years old, they all come in different age groups, do a lot of activities based on mostly our Hindu culture, but then there is a lot of sports, there is a lot of quizzes, there is even on the, we did this on the Zoom this year. Because of COVID, we had to actually stop the camp. And I myself raised one child. And of course, as a teenager, born and raised in this US, we know the cultural differences are immense. Our family activities are also completely different. So I did level with him to the fact that as a teenager, they have so many conflicts, meeting a lot of people outside their kind of religious structure, as well as acceptance of being in a different communities, right? So mainly what I feel is the major things that adults will have to concentrate. Give the teenagers, as I saw in this video, to me, it was little surprising that these kids were reflecting. You know, they have no hope. Hope was never been a part of their living. Encourage them, give them options to follow their passion. If your child is interested in art, music, sport, whatever activity is, we have to, as parents, it's our responsibility. So the responsibility comes from us adults, and also be appreciative. You know, I know that we do glorify them, and you know, at a point where we have to be responsible, we draw a line. We tell them, I will come this far, you're only this far, and have a very friendly relationship, which will build them to see what we are at. And the mentorship that you're talking about with the mentor and mentee, that is a very good aspect of approaching them. In case, you know, my son will not relate anything to me, but his friends will know, or a third person, uncle and auntie will know about it than me. it's natural for the kids to be open. Then I tell them, think of me as your friend. I'm not your mom. You know,
Yes.
that approach will give them hands to shake with along. To me, I told him, hey boy, you are this age, I can control you. You come to my shoulder, you become my friend. You're not my son. So that is the approach. If we can basically form this as our principles, we live it, they learn it. You know, as simple as that. Archana, looking at you, I never imagined you have a grown-up 3 kids. My goodness, you look so young yourself.
Yeah.
That's all I had to add.
Yes.
Thank you. I will join your WhatsApp group and help in any way I can.
Please do join, and thank you so much for the compliment. I guess all of us have that happy and fresh look because we had a happy childhood.
Yes.
Thank you God for that, because we used to play outside, we used to have natural organic growth, and how can we give the same to our children? It's so much artificial these days. So let's try to recreate that environment for them to smile, breathe, and grow. So what I'm planning is, after this, I would like to take just a small survey of how many hours per week, even if it's like 15 minutes or half an hour per week that you can give, and you can suggest what field you can help us at. We can form that platform of either, do you think it needs a non-profit, or we just can work as a like-minded people, or should the children have some kind of chaperoneship? There's so many questions, but we'll discuss it later as a dedicated group. This is an open platform, so I invite all of you to please give us ideas. Yeah, Shakuntala ji?
I can speak in English, but if there is somebody who cannot follow Hindi, then only I will speak in English. Can I speak in Hindi?
शकुंतला जी, आपको जहाँ जिस भाषा में सुविधा है आप
बोलें जैसे
नहीं, we all are Indians, and in Indian group I think that if there is any problem for somebody, then I can speak in English. Otherwise मैं सोचती हूँ, मेरा अपना जो अनुभव है अर्चना, कि मैं देखती हूँ, मैं पिछले 22 सालों से हूँ यहाँ कैलिफोर्निया में, तो मैं देखती हूँ कि यहाँ माता पिता यानी हमारे बच्चे और उनके बच्चे सभी इक्वली बिजी हैं अपने आप काम में, और एक ये टेक्नोलॉजी की वजह से, खास करके कंप्यूटर और इस सब की कारण, फोन के कारण, सब अपने आप में इतने बिजी रहते हैं कि दे हैव नो टाइम टू टॉक. पहले हम लोगों के यहाँ भारत में जो था वो जॉइंट फैमिली हुआ करती थी, लोग आपस में बैठते थे, बोलते थे, करते थे. लेकिन अब सिंगल यूनिट फैमिली होने से क्या है कि सब अपने अपने में, और बच्चे खास करके स्कूल और अपने फ्रेंड्स को जानते हैं. मैं ऐसे कम लोगों को जानती हूँ, और जिनको लोनलीनेस इस तरह से बच्चों को लग रही हो, क्योंकि बच्चे अपने आप में मौका ही नहीं देते हैं, उनसे मिलने का, बात करने का मौका नहीं रहता है. जो अपने घर की फैमिली के बच्चे हैं उनको भी. और बच्चों के अलावा मैं सब्जेक्ट को डाइवर्ट नहीं कर रही हूँ, लेकिन मुझे कई ऐसे सीनियर्स मिले हैं, एल्डर्स हैं, जो कि बहुत लोनली फील करते हैं, और दे हैव नोबडी टू टॉक विद देम, या एक्सचेंज ऑफ व्यूज के लिए, या बात करने के लिए, कि कोई इनसे बात करने वाला नहीं है. तो उनसे भी उनके लिए भी ये प्रॉब्लम है इस तरीके से. तो बच्चों के लिए खास करके अपना स्कूल भला और अपने फ्रेंड सर्किल भले, फैमिली मेंबर से उनको टॉक करने का, मिलने का ज्यादा ना टाइम होता है, और शायद उनके अब जमाने के साथ में लोगों की अभिरुचियां, उनके इंटरेस्ट बदल गए हैं, और वो अपने अपने उनके साथ में मिल करके उनके वो इंटरेस्ट हैं, और हम शायद बहुत पीछे छूट गए हैं, ऐसी भी बात है. लेकिन जिन बच्चों का तुमने जिक्र किया, उन बच्चों को अगर लोनलीनेस है, वो है, तो मैं अगर कुछ कर सकती हूँ तो मैं करने के लिए जरूर तैयार हूँ.
लेकिन आप कर सकती हैं शकुंतला जी, और आपसे उम्मीद भी है. और आपसे आपने बहुत अच्छा पॉइंट टच किया है. हमारा एक प्रोग्राम हम इंट्रोड्यूस करना चाहते हैं, ओल्ड टू गोल्ड. जो ओल्ड सीनियर्स हमारे हैं, सीनियर सिटीजन, उनके साथ हम बच्चों को कैसे जोड़ सकते हैं. उनके पास इतने तजुर्बे हैं, इतने एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं, और बच्चों को चाहिए कि कोई उनकी बात सुने. तो ये आपस में अगर सामंजस्य, इफ दिस कैन बी मेड हैपन, connecting children to their grandparents, pseudo grandparents I should say, अगर उनको दादा का प्यार किसी तरह मिल सकता, अब हाँ, हालांकि उनके पास अपने नहीं होंगे, लेकिन अपने बन जाते हैं. So
बिल्कुल.
शकुंतला जी,
हमने इंडिया कम्युनिटी सेंटर में ये ट्राई वैली जो प्रोग्राम है, उसमें हमने बच्चों को इन्वॉल्व करना शुरू किया है. बच्चे आते हैं, अपना टैलेंट
म्यूजिक या कुछ प्ले करना या बात करना वो शुरू करते हैं, तो उनको हम लोग उनको ले रहे हैं बच्चों को कि हमारे कांटेक्ट में आए और अपना दिखाएं, हमारे संग में फ्रेंडली हो जाएं, तो ये कोशिश हमारी हो रही है।
बहुत बड़ी बात शकुंतला जी, ये तो एक पहलू है कि कॉमनली माने पब्लिकली हम लोग कुछ कर रहे हैं, लेकिन 1-to-1 कनेक्शन भी हम बनाने का प्रयास करेंगे, एंड आई वर्क विथ यू ऑन दैट कि हम कैसे अपने बच्चों को, व्हाट वी आर प्लानिंग इज विल हैव अ इन्वेंटरी, डेटाबेस ऑफ चिल्ड्रन थ्रू आवर टीनेज सेशंस, उनकी बैकग्राउंड विल गेट टू नो फ्रॉम द टीनेज काउंसलर्स एंड विल अकॉर्डिंगली एनालाइज, जैसे मैच मेकिंग होता है वैसे ही हम एक डेटाबेस बनाएंगे सीनियर्स का, एडल्ट्स का, एंड whoever we think might fit we'll try to introduce. So this is in planning, so whoever can help in this aspect, please do come forward. You will feel good that you have done something worthwhile for others who are not, it's not what you can do for yourself and family, but what we can do, offer to others. Manoj ji kuch kehna chahte hain? Manoj ji, did I see your hand?
Yes, definitely. I like to speak, but I didn't want to just stop someone, like especially while you're speaking.
Sure.
So of course, like, when you invited, when I saw the invitation from you for this meet, I was under the impression that this is going to be the meeting of some teenagers who are really looking, who really know the problem. They would be trying to talk about their own problems. That is why I asked the first question. The first time when I opened my mouth, I asked whether there are kids in this Zoom session, and although you didn't answer it straight, but right now I understand there are no kids here. They're just parents.
Okay.
Some parents who are going through this problem because they have teenage kids or the kids in high school. And so far, what I have heard from a lot of people, like Srinivas said, he has kids in high school. And Gopal talked a lot about, he has been trying to help a lot of people, and he has seen certain things in the school, in the sense the parents who themselves are stressed, trying to help stressed out kids. So a lot of good points here. And I probably must have heard the word stress, the highest number of frequencies, like highest number of times among all of you. Here is the point. I basically want to really appreciate what Gopal mentioned about the problem here. One thing for sure, if the parents themselves are stressed for the behavior of the children, is it ever possible that those children can ever get any kind of help from those parents, those who themselves are stressed? Personally feeling, I don't think so. My child who went through, of course, Monta Vista High School, I live in Cupertino, and she's already, past college, so she's done with this. When she was in high school, I probably didn't have all this wisdom. And lately I realized that there is a lot riding in the head of the parents, which needs a fix first before they try to fix anyone. So like, I don't know who said, someone said just now that, yeah, I think Taraji, that, children tend to open up to others rather than parents. So this is, I'm 100% sure in major of the cases where the parents are trying to fix a psychological or stress-related problem, whether due to social pressure or peer pressure, any kind of stress, or competitive pressure at school, it is bound to go to backfire. It will backfire because the parents have their own level of stress, and they, instead of trying to solve something, they try to dump others. So that definitely is not going to help. So like Archana has been talking about, trying to do a mentor-mentee relationship, that probably will be a great help. And the invitation to, sign up for some time over a week or a month will be helpful. But the most important point here is psychological help, or to be free. Stress is nothing but a psychological issue or a mental issue. To be from mental issue or psychological issue is not a group sport. Like, you want to have a big social gathering and you want to be free from that, because you can't have the social gathering or group gathering all the time. You have to spend time with yourself. So the first and foremost thing is to know yourself and to appreciate your own self. Look inside yourself. Self-introspection is the key. As long as we are looking to outside world to get a solution of any problem, any psychological or mental problem, it is bound to backfire. And that is what our age-old culture, our age-old Sanatana Dharma, Vedantic studies, they all tell us. Lately, modern psychology is trying to catch up with that, but that has been written and proved by thousands of years of experience and study by the rishis, Indian rishis, and already coded in Upanishads. So I'm not trying to give you a big religious kind of color to this, but the whole point here is introspection, looking into yourself, finding the solution within yourself. Hey, the solution is not too far. You don't have to go to Texas, or you don't have to go to Washington, D.C. or New York to find a solution. It's cheap because it is inside you. It is only the process of opening up yourself, trying to see who you are, and then go with that. And you will constantly remain in problem if you start comparing others. One very famous Swami has told, everybody is a successful person. Everybody is successful as long as you are not really comparing yourself with another person.
Right.
The moment you compare, you're in trouble. You're inviting stress to yourself. Our parents compare, our society compare, the schools compare, everything, everywhere there is a competition going on. Then we have to see, we have to learn how, we have to remain in the society, but at the same time, how we can really live in the society without stress, without comparing ourselves. Because every person, every individual is unique. Every individual has something very, very special.
Very true. So I totally agree with you, Manoj sir. And we have a lot of speakers. Christine and then Manjuji will speak, but I also will request Madhuji, Neeruji, Shashiji, Chetanji, Seema ji, Afroza ji, and all Sarblin ji who have not spoken to please put your ideas forward. And also if you've not signed up for the WhatsApp, please do, so that we can keep in touch with you. Next week we'll have another session, similar kinds, because we need a lot of planning towards what we are going to do before execution. We need a designing phase which has to be robust and strong. So Christine, please go ahead. And
I'll just give one last punchline which I wanted to give, but
sure, Manoj, sure,
only one line.
Sure, sir.
The line I want to say is, there are many problems in psychology. There are no problems in Vedanta. I want to really stress that, and I am always open to suggestions. I am always open to helping anybody for that matter. Thank you.
Yes, sir. We will need your help in training the adults, because shifting and unlearning from our paradigms is a very big task. And from your discussion, from your expression, I could learn that you have the capability to train adults. So please be ready, because we need your help in unlearning and learning newer things in coming days. So Christine, all yours.
Hi, sorry. First of all, my name is Gayatri.
Oh.
I'm really sorry about the Christine. My son was playing a prank on me. And I didn't realize that my name is Gayatri.
No problem.
I had a suggestion that I think the kids think a lot that Indian parents don't really get them, because they're growing up in the United States and it's a completely different cultural background. So the issues they may be facing with Indian parents are sometimes very different from a white kid faces with a white parent, right? So one suggestion I had, the mentorship idea is great, but I was thinking that it would be a great idea if we could have an anonymous kind of survey that is sent out to kids in terms of, what are the common problems that you see with Indian parents in specific, and the kind of battles, because we're all talking about, taking STEM classes versus art classes versus this versus that. But there are many other issues, like, say, gender fluidity or, bisexuality. And these are all new things and might not be as open communication channels in many other families. I mean, and these are things that are real world realities for many of the kids nowadays. So it's good to have anonymous survey in which, people, the kids themselves fill it out and send it. And then we compile all of that and send it to them that these are the issues we see. and we are forming a group to, actually address these issues, so that they know that when they meet a mentor, the mentor is actually trained, or, they understand, and they're not. And another thing is trust, like somebody who wouldn't go give them away to somebody else. So all these kinds of things, I think we can start with that. And another thing I wanted to say is, if people are interested, my daughter, who's a senior in high school now, she's with me. We were going to get something, so she was with me in the car. So she'll be happy to offer some of her opinions if people are okay with that.
Awesome. That will be most welcome. Can we have her name, please, so that we can address her?
Yes, here she is.
Hi, my name is Hari, and I'm a senior at the Harker School. So thank you all so much. I'm happy to talk. I just wanted to say a few things. I think that my mom was talking right now about some of the issues with like parents not understanding some of the like more modern issues, and I think like part of that is that there's just like a culture clash, and there's like a clash of values sometimes, where there are some things that like parents really value that kids don't value, or things that kids really value that parents don't value. And I think that that creates a really difficult situation, because everybody wants to stick with like what they value, right? And like it's not like the parents' fault, it's not the kids' fault, it's nobody's fault, but it's just that at some point you need to like know where to reach a compromise, right? And I think that something that parents need to realize is that teenagers are not the best like decision making um people, or like the best people to come to a compromise, just because like being a teenager is like a very like difficult time like mentally, and there's a lot going on as well. So I think that like sometimes like parents need to like understand when you just have to like give up and let go on certain things that are like important to you, and if the kid like really like disagrees, right? And if you have had like numerous arguments and it's not going anywhere, like I think that sometimes like the parents, I know this is a big like culture clash to India, right? Where like the elders are highly respected, and like the elders are always the ones who have the final say. But I just think that in American culture, it's not like that. That's like not how we're taught as we grow up. And what is right is what is wrong. I'm not saying what's right, which culture is better. That's not my point at all. But just that a lot of teenagers here like grow up hearing like all these like information about like independence and like standing for what you believe and stuff like that. So it ends up creating really like bitter arguments, I think. And I think that like sometimes parents need to be the ones to just compromise and to let go, and maybe like a couple years down the line, like you can come back to the same conversation, and it might end up going in a different way, right? And you might find a better compromise that works for both parties. But I think that sometimes like parents just need to understand that like teenagers are not going to make the best decisions, and sometimes like it's better in the long run to just support that than to try to force them not to agree, or like to force them to agree with you, because the more you like push that, the less they end up agreeing with you at the end, right? And
You had some ideas about the mentorship.
yeah, I was gonna say as well about the mentorship, that if you did do that, like I think a couple of
Beta, just 1 minute. So this is 4 o'clock, but we'll extend the time. So in case I'm hoping this will extend on automatically. If it doesn't, the same link will work and you can log in. But I'm hoping it should work. It's 4 o'clock, but we'll keep on continuing till we have any people wanted to speak anything. So please go ahead. Beta, go ahead. Very good points. Very valid.
Yeah, and I think that somebody else also mentioned about like parents taking like Asian American psychology, for example. I think that that's a really good idea, and if parents were able to take like the teenage psychology or something like that, just because I think that like understanding like for like when is the point of compromise, like understanding like how teenagers are thinking, stuff like that, like it's really
the amount of work.
Yeah, or even like the amount of work teenagers have, like I think that it's really just difficult for parents as well, and like parents are in this really difficult position, and I think that by getting like professional like advice and input and really understanding the problem, then you can try to address it. And one thing I was gonna say specifically is that regarding like academic stress and workload, I always tell my parents this, that like for 1 week, just do all of the work that your kid has. Like do every homework assignment, take every test with them, right? Like just do everything, like do all of their extracurriculars, and then you'll understand, right? Because like my dad will always ask me, or like my mom always asks me like every night, like, are you stressed? And then I just like think for a second, and I'm like yes or no, right? But it's like oftentimes like your kid will fall into this routine where they're just doing infinite things, but they don't even realize it, that like what they're doing is abnormal, and that's like not okay, because our culture very much like normalizes stress. So I think that like for parents to really like understand that, they need to do it, right? You have to be in their like shoes. So like sometimes like, or even if you ask your kid, like even if that isn't possible, if you don't have time, which I highly recommend that you do it, but even if you can't, at least like ask your kid to like show you every homework assignment or every test that they've taken that week, right? And I think just when you look at the amount of work, like you just get a whole different perspective, because you're like, wow, like they're doing so much, right? So I think that's really important for understanding. And then for the mentorship program specifically, I was going to say some issues that students might have with that is just firstly like confidentiality. So suppose if I'm paired with my best friend's mom, right? And then and then I say something that I wouldn't want my best friend to know, then the mom is then suddenly in a really difficult position where they're like, oh, do I tell my kid or not, right? So I think that's one thing.
Yeah, that's a very valid point, and I should mention you. That's why we maintain unfamiliarity condition. If you have ever done, challenge day, what we club together is always, blind person, like blind familiarity. They will not be connected or even affiliated or related to each other. That's how we plan it.
Okay, good. That's really good. Yeah. And then the other thing is that like I think one reason why this program could be very helpful is because oftentimes like there'll be like a lot of like Indian kids or whoever else who will be like, I can go talk to my school counselor, yeah, but what if like this white lady like doesn't understand, right? And it's nothing against the counselor, it's just that it's very different backgrounds and they just don't understand. I think that in that sense it can be really helpful to maybe talk to like another like Indian parent who, and like I think the important thing in this is that whoever is doing the counseling, like as a parent who signs up, they need to first like not provide any judgment. Like I think that's really important, and it's really hard to do too, so you should like really like work on practicing that. But the second that you even like make like an uncomfortable face, like it's done. Like you're never gonna earn the kid's trust again, right? So I think that like that's one thing you have to be really careful with. And then also like being willing to, and then at the same time, like you should give advice like as a parent and think that what would you do if this was your kid, right? And then give like suggestions for how they can talk to their parents, or even like offer that like you yourself can talk to their parents if the kid wants that, right? Because maybe like the parent would be more understanding if they heard it from somebody else who's also like an Indian parent. So I think that those are some things that you can also consider for the program. Yeah.
Beautiful. I know, Beta, if you had been here in person, I wanted to give you a hug for bringing all those awesome points, great points. I see you were the only child, but you made the best sense of among all of us. So thank you so much for sharing this valuable input. So 2 points I would like to tell you is 2 points, Beta, that before we pair any mentor or mentee, we'll have an online session. That's what I was telling, that adults will undergo a training session to prepare them to face people. Because I think personally, I'm not ready emotionally or professionally or socially to handle things. So, for example, as an Indian parent, if one of your child says, I'm a gay or I'm alcoholic, are we prepared to even hear that? As you said, if I make an uncomfortable face, that person will never open up again. So that those conditions which are unforeseen, unexpected, are we ready to handle those? How do we react? So we'll train all the adults before making them the children. So thank you for giving that input. Very valuable. Keep in touch, Beta. We will need more input from you.
Yes, definitely. And I think that you should also, when you do that training, you should actually hire like a psychologist or a counselor to do that, just because I think they'll know things that you might not realize. And then, yeah, I guess like just in general, like I just want to say one more thing. Like sometimes it seems like a lot of your kids might be like out to get you if you're having a lot of arguments and you're like, oh, they hate me, they don't want anything to do with me. Like more times than not, I think that like your kids like genuinely like just want you to like them. And I think that's where a lot of the issues come, where they feel like that you don't like them, and then they like fight about things and stuff like that. So I think like at the end of the day, just like your kids should feel like you support and you like and you're proud of them, right? And I think that's like really important. And in like Indian culture, often like people don't say for every little thing, oh, I'm so proud of you, sweetie, or whatever, right? And I think that's fine, but it's just that like make sure that they're like aware of that fact.
Perfect.
I think
Expression is as important.
I,
Yes. Thank
I
you.
think your mom, so-called Christine, whoever pranked her, she may be sitting and listening to you. Beautiful. You know, you're gifted. I mean, both are awesome. Thank you.
Gopalji and Manojji, please remember all these things, and all of us will need to reflect on what she said, because very valid, important points. Let's discuss upon what she has shared. Manjuji wants to say something. Manjuji.
Yeah, I want to say something.
You have recorded all those things, right?
Yes,
Okay,
sir. We will review it again. Yes.
I think the most important thing is that I would like to replace this word stress because it's overused and it's of no value. You could replace it as like social emotional maturity. Everybody can go and look for it, but that's the right way. And you have to really acknowledge if the weather is hot, you're going to feel hot. The nuclear family living will provide all these things of lack of, because you don't have time. You're only giving time to career because it takes so much, whatever the reasons are. So first you acknowledge that. Then the cultural language. I disagree. We give a lot of wrong direction when we say there's an Indian and American culture. I have a lot of friends among both the culture. Parent-child relationship is a challenge right now because you can, like with your boss, you can be friend only to the point. After all, he's a boss and you are there. The parent is kind of responsible to make those major decisions. You kind of a friendship only for a superficial level. But so all of this, so you have to, if you say this, and the parents get to get confused. And if you look at any of the series, which are teenagers, American or Indian, even like that famous Never Ever Ever, not a single teenage child, American or Indian, had a good life, family life. So I think we have to acknowledge that and not keep on, going on this thing, we are Indian. But that point is taken that, as I had said before, that all of the parents should go to school here and take the cultural language, because we don't, what the teenagers want, we've been teenagers, we've done the same thing. We've also revolted against our parents and all of that. But one thing different here is that the adults are not respected. So adults are providing all the features like the house and the good school and all of that, but they are not respected. So that's another, like you're a boss, but you're really not a boss. Everybody's saying, do this, do that. So one is like learn the cultural language, and for that you have to go to school. Hiring a professional will be total waste of time because they just talk. In the end, unless you experience by going to school and learning and writing the papers, doing the Chintan Manan, you will not learn. It's just like you can make excuses again. So if you're really serious, is about looking at it as a real problem between the gender, because you have a lot of money and like a less time, we don't have enough social, cultural, social, emotional maturity. So I would say, like, if you focus on the root problem and not on the noise that we keep on hearing, like stress and all that, we will not go anywhere.
Very nice, Manjuji. I guess let's have 10 more minutes. But let me tell you that next Saturday we'll have the same time, 3 p.m. Please make available your time so that we can have more input from you. Meanwhile, in this week, we'll have in the WhatsApp some developments which we'll share in the next meeting, Saturday, 3 p.m. Sir Blin wants to say something.
Yeah, hello everybody. Actually, I was listening to everybody and I'm convinced with most of you all, like, points are very valid. I just want to add like more points. I'm not saying like somebody is very good or bad, but yes, I agree with everybody's point of about Asian parents and all those things, because Asian parents, I have heard a lot in my daughter's school, like, all Indian kids, like they always say, I have an Asian parent, so, I have some limitations and all. That is for sure. So, and I agree with Manjuji saying that we should have a right vocabulary to use certain things, because, when we are interacting with kids, we should use the right terminology and right words so that they are not hurt. When we are talking to them about stress, or we are talking about interaction and mentor. So this meeting with, especially with kids, should not be like a like we are trying to remove their stress or something. It should be like a social gathering. We should say that, okay, this is a pandemic, and we are lacking some social gathering and networking. So we are trying to get socialized, and we are trying to be, as we all are Indian, so we are trying, of course, we are focusing more with our culture, but we don't have to show them that we want to stick to our culture. Of course, somewhere inside we have that in our mind, but we should tell them that this is a gathering. This is some kind of gathering. And now, like, we are having a Dashera, Diwali coming up, so we can make this gathering as a festival gathering or a event gathering, something like that, where kids are coming together and meeting, and there they are making friends. So that mentor relationship will be like a friendly relationship, where instead of thinking that, oh, whether I should share this thing to this particular person or not, when you are a friend, then you are more open to share things. So I will definitely 100% agree with the Manjuji's point that we should form some kind of vocabularies and terminologies for a particular thing. As Archana said, we are going to plan and plan a platform, how to start, and whatever planning she is doing before introducing to kids. So I'll definitely say highlight this point, that these things has to be highlighted for kids.
Beautiful, Sarvan. Very well points, very valid points. So please do join the formative planning, and please do join the WhatsApp group as well, because this is very, very important what you said of making it fun for them. Very important. We had missed that point, that it's not like we are doing something good or better or planning.
Right.
Very beautiful, very well said. Anybody else want to
I have already joined WhatsApp group. I am always there, like just send me a message. I will be like very happy to join this team. And even I have a teenager, so definitely I might need help in future. So
actually, this is a hand holding for all of us. It's just not my child or your child. It's for every child, because sometimes we might have a good environment, but there is somebody there out there who needs us to reach him or her. So let's think about Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, and it will make us feel so good that we could do something good without expecting in return. So this is objective. So let's think of every children that we can touch. So I guess let's respect time for each other. Unless anybody has something to say, I hope that you have joined the WhatsApp group. There will be information. Also share your viewpoints there, so that everybody who has not attended can know and see what we have discussed. I'll post this video also, so that you all can review what everybody has said. And having said that, I'll take adios, bye-bye for this time. Saturday 3 p.m. next one, we'll come up with all the updates that we have done in the week. So please do join again. We look forward to meet you again. Let's till that time, stay safe, stay happy. As we say in Hindi, स्वस्थ रहें, व्यस्त रहें और मस्त रहें.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.